Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to another episode of the OCast. In this episode here, we're going to talk about Colorado versus Oregon, a major beatdown that we all just got done witnessing. Something that kind of has me baffled. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Oregon came out into the start of the game very aggressive, which they should have. You're the better team. You feel like you're more superior or program. You feel like Colorado has a lot of hype around them, a lot of attention that you don't feel like they didn't necessarily deserve, and you're looking to come out and put your foot on their neck. And that's exactly what they did. First drive of the game, they went completely downfield, punched it in the end zone. Their offensive line from the jump clearly was way more dominant, or not dominant, just way more better than the defensive line of Colorado. They had no chance. It was like a mauling in the trenches on both sides of the ball for Oregon. The Oregon's offensive line was dominating, and Oregon's defensive line and their pass rush as a whole was ridiculous. Now, I don't want to get too far ahead, so let's stick back with the aggressiveness of that offense. Everybody knows that Oregon is known for super duper fast guys, putting up high points and being an incredible show to watch in college football. They're known for that. And on top of that, they have the best uniforms. And it ain't close. But going into this game, I expected Colorado to be able to keep up with them on the scoreboard because Oregon's defense isn't that good. It's not known to be that good. They're not very strong. They're built similar to what USC, Oklahoma. Their offense is always historic in a sense, but their defense is always lackluster. Not the case with this Oregon Ducks team. Shout out to my big cousin Xavier, who we had a good discussion before the game, who was the only Oregon Duck fan that I know. So if you're an Oregon Ducks fan now, I don't know where you came from. But shout out to him because he was letting me know that they got some guys that people aren't really aware of. Watching that game, ask yourselves, how many times did you hear after a play by some Oregon player, did you hear SEC transfer? That's big time. That's huge. Oregon definitely has been using the transfer portal. Deion Sanders is not the only coach that's been doing it. It's just that, he's Deion Sanders, and everything that he does is going to be magnified times 100. Which brings me to my next point. Oregon's head coach before the game, his speech was, I'm paraphrasing it, the Cinderella story is over for Colorado. They're fighting for clicks, and we're fighting for wins. Look, no shade to the man. Hey, say whatever you need to say to your team to get them pumped up. But it's obvious that these coaches every week, they're fighting to beat Deion Sanders and his hype and his prestige, his aura. They don't like it. They're jealous of it. They're envy of it. And it's obvious, and every week we're having these head coaches, black and white, because Colorado State coach is apparently a black man. So it's not completely a race issue, but the coaches are not happy with the fact that Deion Sanders has come in and made such a major impact, and he's getting all the attention, he's getting all the love. Because they know that means he's going to get all the recruits. After the game, Coach Prime said, "You better get me now. You better get me now." And it's the truth. This is the worst they will ever be as with him as head coach. But back to the game and some stats. Like I said, Oregon came out very, very aggressive. I feel like that fake punt in the first quarter when they were up 13-0, had they punt that ball and Colorado had a chance to, or if they did make some type of movement down the field and they got a field goal at least, it would have been a different ball game. Because at that point, then Oregon would have had to change up as far as how aggressive they were being with their play calls. However, with him calling that fake punt in his own territory, deep in his own 10, 20-yard line, to me that was a sign of extreme aggressiveness by that coach. because that's unusual for a coach to go for it on fourth down within his own yards. Not own yards, within his own side of the field, deep in his own side of the field in the first quarter. 13-0. You're up. It's not really a time for you to kind of make that type of statement, because usually that's a desperate move. Like, your team needs a spark to make something happen. You need something right now. They weren't desperate for it, but kudos to the coach because it worked. And I believe that set Oregon completely off. They were already rolling on momentum. They were already feeding off of the crowd's energy, but that fake punt was so uplifting to the team. Like, oh yeah, we finna kill them. It's dead. They got no shot. But on the same time, I feel like that was very demoralizing for the Colorado players. Not necessarily, I feel like, for Coach Prime, but he is the head coach and those are his players. That fake punt was very demoralizing. I feel like after that, Oregon went all the way downfield and scored. It's just hard to come back from that, especially on the road. They underestimated, and including myself, underestimated the size and speed. Not necessarily the speed, more so the size of Oregon's defensive players. Like I said, they had SEC transfers all over the field. That did not look like a normal Pac-12 defense. If that's really, if that's really how Oregon plays, if that's really how they look as an entire team, if that's not just how they perform because of the occasion that, hey, we're going to beat Coach Prime in Colorado, they think they this, they think they that. If it's not just that, if that's really how good they are, Oregon's going to be a problem. And the only team that probably can compete with them is USC because of Caleb Williams. But we all know USC's defense is, that's not a question mark. That is awful. But at the end of the day, all they have to do is create the best game plan for one game. Now, back to our grammar. Of course, I digress. Oregon was just unbelievable. Bo Nix, 28 for 33, 276 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had all day to throw the ball. He could have grew out his hair and tried to rock some type of Fabio look or something. He had all day in the back pocket to make his decisions, but he wasn't taking all day. He was very decisive and very quick with what he was doing. And their running game, their running back, number 0, Bucky, it really seemed like they called off the dogs with him because they stopped giving him the ball. He only had, I believe, 15 carries. If he had more, Buddy could have had a historic game, and the game could have got done a lot quicker. But, hey, they stuck to their game plan, and they also used a lot of their running backs, a lot. But enough of Oregon. They played great. They played outstanding. They played like they were supposed to play. I was very surprised, like I said, by their size of their team. Like, kudos to Oregon's coaching staff and their recruitment team on attacking that transfer portal and using it to their advantage and understanding, okay, if we want to win national championships, we got to win in these trenches. We got to get some big boys. We got to get some big dogs, which brings me to Colorado. That offensive line and defensive line was what lost them the game. Clearly. Now, don't get me wrong, Shador, he was holding the ball entirely too long. He said it himself in his post game press conference. But he still was 23 for 33, but for only $159. The real key is he had 10 carries and he's not even a runner. And they're not necessarily carries. They were all pretty much him running for his life. But he ended with negative 34 yards. He was looking like Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was running for his life. That offensive line has to be better. Deion Sanders has constantly mentioned that in his interviews on ESPN, FS1, that, when he's asked the question, hey, do you think you guys are ready to make some type of push to the national championship, or really are you guys finally here? He adamantly says no. We got to get some big boys. We got to get the trenches. And it was evident today. Evident. Oh my goodness. Colorado's offensive line was looking like a Madden offensive line. And if you play Madden, pretty much all of us have at some point in time screamed at the TV because when you go on instant replay after a sack and you look at what computer has those offensive linemen doing, and it's like they glitch and they just let the guy run right past them. That's how Colorado's offensive line was looking. It just it was no match at all. And Shedeur can't do, or not just Shedeur, but any quarterback for that matter, or any running back for that matter, can make anything happen if as soon as the ball is snapped, they got somebody in their face. Now, what Shedeur did mention in his press conference, like I already said, he put blame on himself, but in my opinion, that's just him being a leader. That's him taking accountability for the fact that I'm the starting quarterback. I'm not going to throw any of my guys under the bus. They're going to hear it from the coaching staff. They don't need to hear it from me as well. They know what they did wrong. Everybody feels the same way that I do, so I'm not going to kick anybody while they're down. So I'll just take all the blame and take all the criticism now, and that's great. I'm happy that he did that. I feel like Deion and Shedeur were wonderful in their post-game press conference. I love the way they handled this. By no means am I saying I'm happy though they needed to be humbled. No, hell no. They didn't need to be humbled. Something that a lot of us need to remember is that they're not hyping themselves up. It's the media doing what the media does. The next hot wave, they cling onto it, attach to it. Not only does the media do it, but as you saw, celebrities do it. The Rock came out, Lil Wayne came out, and plenty others. Offset, Key Glock. Come on now. None of you guys are from Colorado. None of you guys have any reason to be overdoing or trying your best to be involved in this movement that Deion Sanders and them have going on. You can be like myself, which is be a fan when they're not playing against your team. Like if they play UGA, I'm sorry, y'all got to go down. And it's going to be worse than 42-7, believe that. But by no means am I going to be trying to go to Colorado to have a tour of the locker room. I mean, so I think that a lot of these coaches and a lot of other people in the NCAA football realm who have some type of bad feelings towards Deion Sanders, they have to really take a look in the mirror and understand, what are you mad at? What are you really mad at? The fact that a black man took a job at a PWI, that's not new. The fact that a coach utilized the transfer portal and flipped his almost entire team, that's what it's for. The team was 1-11 last year. Why would he go there and want to keep all those same guys? That's what the transfer portal is for. I mean, what are you really mad at? That he beat TCU first game? TCU isn't that good. They weren't that good last year. They were just playing out of their minds. They were a team that was galvanized around their quarterback and their coach, and they all believed that they were going to win no matter what. And in college sports, if you can get your team to feel like, if you can get these kids to play out of their minds, above themselves, which is definitely possible, you can aspire to get the best out of them, then the sky's the limit. Especially if you have a good game plan, you have a good coaching staff, and everything just fits together, just like that, anything can happen. But yeah, what are you really mad at? Because he's wearing shades and a hat, he's being flashy. Deion Sanders is not acting any differently than he has acted since he has been in the limelight. And if you're upset about Shedeur is really light. The fact that he flexing watches, that's light. Pops was really on that, on some Muhammad Ali type stuff. Like I'm him. And I'm going to tell you I'm him. And I'm going to dress like I'm him. And then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it on the field. And not only that, I'm going to play other sports. And I'm going to be me unapologetically. Shedeur is really light if you ask me. So it just is what it is. He's a black man coming into a predominantly dominated field by white coaches, and he's being very successful, and he's getting a lot of attention that they don't feel like he deserves because he hasn't won a natty yet or even a conference championship yet. So, but all of that is not anything that he's asked for. If you want to be upset with anybody, be upset with the media. because the media are the people who are attaching to themselves to Colorado and Deion Sanders. So while you're trying to beat Deion Sanders and mad at Deion Sanders, you're pointing all that at the wrong person, but it's fine. Deion Sanders, like he says, he keeps receipts, and like he also said, hey, you better get them now. You better get them now, because this is the worst they will ever be. I want to shout out to one of my Facebook friends, one of my boys, Lens. Hey, you say it's kind of like a bittersweet situation. Like, he going to get almost all the offensive line recruits and defensive line recruits. Like, if you're an O lineman and you're not getting no burn on your team, or a D lineman and you're not getting no burn on your team, and you saw this game, they already have buku players contacting that athletic office, football team office, or whatever the case may be. They already have a astronomical amount of players calling them, trying to inquire about, hey, can I transfer there? So now imagine how many offensive linemen are going to want to go to this school, because that's all they're missing. They got the skill players, and they're going to continue to get skill players because of Deion. It's just the guys, the big boys. You got to get some big boys. Everybody who really knows football knows you win games in the trenches. You win games at the line of scrimmage, and it was no more evident today than it has ever been. Hey, gosh, 7 sacks, 7 tackles for losses. 35-0 at halftime. Look, straight up beat down. No excuse. I'm anxious and looking forward to see how Colorado bounce back next week against USC, because, hey, this is just the beginning of their 2, 3, 4 game stretch where it's some big time conference football they're playing. USC, of course, they got the best quarterback in the country, Caleb Williams. So it's going to be interesting. They're going to be at home. Is that going to make a difference? And they're playing against USC after they just got thrashed. Not thrash. What the fuck is thrash? They got killed by Oregon. Is that going to help them? Is that going to hurt them? Or are they going to still be lingering from the fact that, dang, bro, we got dropped off? If something goes wrong within the first drive or two, are they going to immediately think back to, oh, man, we really ain't got it like that, bro? They don't expose us. No, do the players really believe? Do they really believe? We're going to learn. We're going to find out. I still have the utmost confidence in Coach Prime and that team. They're going to get it together. Hey, it's a part of sports, baby. It's the beauty. You may think that you know somebody's going to win, but at the end of the day, you got to play the game. And in the words of Herm Edwards, he said, hey, you play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. And unfortunately today, Colorado did not win that game. They had no chance from the opening kickoff. But hey, look forward to see what they get. Look forward to see the adjustments that they make and how they respond to another tough game right next week. And you can't waste no time. Gotta watch that film, break it down, see what you did wrong, and flush that game down the drain, because you got another monster you got to play against. Let's see. Tell me what you think was the most shocking part of the game. Or did everything go the way that you planned in the game? Let me know how you feel in the comments. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the OCast. Out.